Hey, welcome to the Event Answer Studio. Today I want to show you how to put together this balloon heart centerpiece and the frame that it's built on. So follow along and I'll show you exactly how to make it. I'll be shaping today's frame from this 8-gauge copper grounding wire. It's soft enough to mold by hand, but sturdy enough to support our balloons. And to make that shaping process even easier, I designed this heart-shaped template that stands 18 inches tall plus a 6-inch tall base. If you'd like to have this template as well as a balloon recipe to go along with today's project, I'll have that linked in the description box below. With the template laid flat on the table, I'm going to bend the wire to follow all of those lines, and I should be able to do most of those bends with my bare hands, but I do have a pair of pliers to help with those really tight corners like I've got here in the base. Now it's really important that this first foot is really flat and this first bend is a really nice straight 90-degree angle. This will help the heart stand nice and straight without leaning. From that first bend, I'm going to straighten out the wire as much as possible up to the point of the heart. Once I'm pleased with the shape of this section of wire, I'm going to tape it down to the template so it doesn't shimmy around too much as I continue to bend the heart. As I work my way around the template, I want to focus on the general shape of the heart and not worry too much if there's little bumps in the wire or if it's not 100% smooth. Once we add the balloons to the wire, that'll completely smooth itself out. The most important part is that the wire stays flat on the table. If it bends up like this away from the template, it means that it's warped, and when we stand our heart upright, it may lean forwards or backwards. So try to focus your attention on bending that wire up or down to keep it nice and flat on the table. Once I get to the point of the heart, I want to bend the wire and run it parallel to the line that makes up the base, and then put that final 90-degree bend in, making sure both feet are in line with each other. Trim away any excess wire using a pair of wire cutters so that both of our feet are the same length. To help the heart stand nice and stable, we need to make a third foot. So I'm just going to line up a little bit of wire over the top of one of the other feet and bend it so it looks just like the foot and the base. Then trim it to size so that they're all the same length. Now we need to attach this third foot to the other two, and I'm going to use a pair of these 8-inch long zip ties. So I'm going to slip 2 of these right underneath the 2 current legs, lay the third leg right on top, and then snug these up nice and tight. Now we need to prepare a 12-inch cardboard circle that the wire frame is going to sit on top of. I'm using a 12-inch cake board because it's already cut to a perfect circle, and this one even has a gold foil on it, so I don't even have to cover it in tissue paper. Once you've got your cardboard circle prepared, set your wire frame right in the center of it and then bend the 3 legs around so that they're equally spaced around that circle. While holding the frame in place, grab a permanent marker and make a mark on either side of each foot about halfway in on that circle. Then with a craft knife or box cutter, cut a slot on each of those marks, and into these slots we're going to thread through a zip tie. So starting from the gold or nice side of your circle, thread your zip tie down and then back up, paying close attention to which direction the teeth of the zip tie are facing so we can pull these tight in just a moment. Once you've got all 3 zip ties prepared, set the wire frame back in the center and align each of the feet in the center of one zip tie. Then just snug up each zip tie so it's nice and tight around the foot, and trim away any remaining tail of zip tie with a pair of scissors. My feet were a little too long for this 12-inch cake board, so I'm cutting them down with a pair of wire cutters. If you're following the template linked below, it's already been size adjusted so the feet will fit nicely inside the cake board. At the moment, we have a lot of sharp points that could potentially pop our balloons, so I'm going to cover up anything that might be sharp with some clear packaging tape. This includes the end of any cut wires or zip ties. By placing a piece or 2 of packaging tape on top of all of these points, we can rest assured that we won't accidentally pop any balloons. With our frame ready to go, we can finally start working on inflating our balloons. So I'm using 124 5-inch balloons divided amongst 3 colors for today's arrangement, and I'll be inflating 5 of those to start with to 4 pumps of air for our base. I'm then going to tie all 5 of those into a set of 5, and to do that you need to take 2 balloons, wrap the nozzles around twice, and tie them together in a knot. This will create a pair. And to this pair, we need to add a single balloon. So I'm going to take the nozzle of a single balloon, wrap it around the nozzles of the pair, and then tie that nozzle into one of the others, creating a trio. With this trio made, we need to make one more pair just like we did earlier, and we're going to bring the trio and the pair together so that all the nozzles touch, and then wrap one balloon from each of those around each other, and that will secure it together into a set of 5. Now once you've got your set of 5 made, we're going to make one more set in the exact same way, only these balloons we're going to inflate to 3 pumps of air each. Starting with the largest set of balloons, slip these around the base of the frame so that that central wire is sitting right against the nozzles of our set. Then take the two balloons that are on either side of that wire and twist them around each other, and this will lock the set to the frame. Then take a look at the balloons that are on the set and make sure you don't have two balloons of the same color sitting right next to each other. Once you're happy with their color arrangement, grab a smaller set of balloons and slide it right on top of the first set. Attach it in the exact same way, and then arrange these balloons so that each balloon of this set is sitting between two balloons of the set below it. To cover the heart part of the frame, we need to inflate 104 5-inch balloons to one pump of air each and tie them all into pairs. And to help that process go easier, I'm going to inflate one balloon and hold it under my middle finger while I inflate the second balloon. Then once I've got both of them inflated to one pump of air, I'll wrap the nozzles around twice and tie them in a knot. This means I'm tying fewer knots overall to create my pairs instead of tying them individually. Now you're going to take 4 of these pairs and set them aside because we'll need them for the heart as pairs, but all the rest of the pairs we're going to twist together into quads by just overlapping the nozzles and twisting one balloon around each other to secure them into a quad. Starting at the point of the heart, you're going to take your first pair and slip it underneath the wire frame of the heart. So it sits between the wire of that frame and that set of 5 balloons below it. So nestle it so it's right at the very center point of our heart, and then twist those 2 balloons around each other to lock them to the frame. On both sides of this pair, we're going to start nestling in our quads. So starting on the right hand side, I'm going to take my first quad and slip it over the wire of the frame so that that wire is touching the nozzles of that quad, and then the 2 balloons that are on either side of that wire, twist them around each other to lock it to that frame. Then I'm going to rotate this quad around so that one balloon of that quad is going to sit right between the 2 balloons of that first pair. Now you're going to want to nestle the quads really close together so you can't see the wire between the balloons. Once you've got it snugged right up against that first pair, we're going to grab another quad, attach it in the same way that we attached the first one, but this one we're going to rotate around so that the balloons of this quad are sitting nestled between 2 balloons of the previous quad. And by snugging them together like this, you're less likely to see the frame in between the balloons. Now I'm going to keep adding quads in the same way until I've got 7 quads all attached to the frame on this right hand side, and then once I've got the balloons level with the top point of my heart, it's time to add a pair because our balloons are tilted in the wrong direction and we want to force them to rotate around with the frame. So I'm going to take another one of my pairs and I'm going to place it on the inside of the heart. So set the pair so that the nozzles are touching the inside of that wire and press the balloons towards the outer edge. Twist those 2 balloons around each other so that they're locked to the frame, and then you want to look at the quad below it and make sure the quad below it has one single balloon pointing towards the outside edge of the heart, and the pair that we just added is centered right over that balloon. That pair has now changed the angle that the next quad is sitting at, and that helps it get around the curve of the heart. I'm going to add 3 more quads to this right hand side and then pause and move down to the bottom left hand side and build that side all the way up in the exact same way until we also get it up to the curve of the heart. As I add quads, I'm always paying attention to the color placement as I don't want too many of the same color sitting right next to each other. After placing the pair on the left-hand side of the heart, I'm going to add 4 more quads on top of that, making sure I've got 4 quads on both sides of the heart, and then I'm going to grab that 4th pair and place it at the very center point of the heart. So bring it on top of the wire frame and then twist the balloons together underneath so that they're pointing down. This pair will really help define the shape of the heart and give it a nice sharp point. Now I'm going to wedge 1 more quad on either side of that pair, and you may have to rotate the balloons around a little bit so they all sit nice and snugly together. Now that the heart has taken shape, we can move back down to the base and fill in these larger gaps between our base balloons. Now I've gone ahead and inflated 10 more balloons to one pump of air and tied them into pairs, but these pairs I've tied at the very end of the nozzle, so there's a lot of stretch between the balloons. And I'm going to place one of these balloons between 2 base balloons and then stretch those nozzles underneath the base balloons so they go across the center, and place that other 1 pump balloon on the opposite side of the arrangement. I'm going to repeat this between all of my base balloons, including the ones in the upper layer, and this just adds a nice little accent to our base. And now this heart is ready for a party or event. If you enjoyed this project, you should check out this video next. And remember, until the next time, stay creative everyone. Bye!